Hi, Brent, and thank you for agreeing to be a part of Conversation Corner.
Thanks for having me.
Conversation Corner allows us to chat with colleagues from across the division to get to know a little bit about each other and to help us share what our colleagues do within the division. So, Brent, you recently joined Procurement Services in the Financial Services Department as a senior procurement analyst and project lead. Can you tell us what attracted you to join York?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again for having me as part of this conversation. It's been a great tool to get to know the division, especially starting in a new place. Well, many of us are working remotely still, so it's great to have this personal touch. So thank you, Karen, for putting this together. So what attracted me to York? Well, prior to coming to York, I was involved a lot in community development services and working with nonprofits and social enterprises in the social procurement space. So throughout my circuit, if you will, of working with other public sector institutions and the broader public sector governments, York was always held up as the gold standard for social procurement. So um, the more I got to learn about York and their activities within procurement services as it pertained to social procurement and sustainability, the more I knew that this had to be the place for me at some point. So I was very excited when a posting came open to in part scale some of the social procurement and sustainability activity at the university. So I don't think I've ever put a resume together so quickly in my life because I just couldn't wait to be considered for this role. And I think just about the university on the whole, it was my experience before coming here is that York really has I would say an advanced sense of awareness of their place in the community, and the TD Engagement Center. That's quite monumental work there as well. So I just knew that this was a great fit for like a public sector anchor institution that really, you know, really wants to push the um, push things forward to make sure that the community is a part of the university's progress as well.
That's excellent. Wonderful. Yes, York is very much a beacon in that environment. We have some of our core values, with sustainability being definitely
Mhm.
front and center. So, Brent, prior to joining York, you were with an organization called Buy Social Canada, where you were the regional manager for the Greater Toronto Hamilton area. This organization looks at procurement through the lens of its social and economic impact and value in the community. York is one of Canada's first universities to have established a comprehensive social procurement policy. It is also an institution in which social justice and equity are part of our core values. Along with that, sustainability is interwoven into the very fabric of the university. That said, can you share with me what you will be doing in this role and how that will align with the university's key initiatives and core values?
Sure, I'd be happy to. It'll be a tall order because there's so many exciting opportunities to explore. But let me, I think before I get into what I'm going to be doing, I think it would be remiss of me not to give pay particular mention to Dexter King, the director of procurement services, and Lorna Schwarzentruber with the community engagement, and Shauna Tepper as well. I got to meet the three of those individuals prior to joining York through various events like the Toronto Community Benefits Network. And they've always been such a champion for change. So the work I do, I just want to acknowledge the fact that, those have been the pioneers that I've witnessed at York. So I'm excited to build on and work with them, of course, and build on what they've done already. And of course, as I started, I got to know Nicole Arsenault, and this director of sustainability. So there's a great team here and a lot of progressive minds that are really championing causes that I think are near and dear to the community and also the students' heart as well. Um, but within my role, there's a few. What I'll do is I'll divide it into two subsets, really: the social procurement and the sustainability. So let everybody know about a few things coming down the pipeline over the coming months. So the first one, if I focus on social procurement, is I'm in the process of building a social procurement vendor portal. So what that is I'm hoping it's going to be a robust directory of social enterprises and diverse owned suppliers within our neighboring communities. And what this will do is it'll be for the university's use. So, when someone needs to purchase something, they can consult the directory to see if perhaps a social enterprise or a diverse owned supplier may be able to provide those services, or at least bid on the services, depending on the threshold of the purchase. So that's probably going to be coming down the pipeline, I would say late fall, early winter, but it's going to be an exciting initiative. And I think what I'm hoping it'll do is raise awareness for the university community to know that these businesses exist and to benefit the community through our purchases as well. So there's a lot of community engagement that needs to happen as well. In terms of raising awareness for the program, to make sure the businesses who we think can benefit most from that program or from this opportunity make themselves known as well. So that's certainly keeping my days full, getting that sorted out. But I'm really excited about the possibility, and just as we begin to track the data through these opportunities and contract awards, hopefully that we'd be able to measure just how much of a community. I'm also in the process of designing some toolkits, and probably going to do some webinars as well about social procurement and sustainability. And the broad objective there is to empower members of the university community to be confident in pursuing social procurement opportunities. So there'll be a few different pathways or target audiences, perhaps is a better word for it, for the toolkits. So for anyone doing purchasing, I'll do some toolkits that are tailored on how to find those opportunities and how to embed those into contracts and what have you. So those conversations can happen as early as possible in the process. That's one of the things I've learned doing social procurement across the province, is that the earlier we can start to have these conversations about community impact, the easier it is to embed in the project. Vendors as well, of all shapes and sizes. So there'll be some topics I would imagine around, how to embed social procurement into your own line of work, and how to, when a proponent's bidding on a particular opportunity, how can you highlight the good you do in your community so that can be evaluated. We are starting to embed targets into our procurement opportunities. So it's important for suppliers and vendors actually to feel empowered to be able to comment on the good that they do. And then probably lastly is I want to provide some information for small businesses and social enterprises. So these could be think about your mom and pop shops or social enterprises, which are typically non-profits. Through my work at Buy Social and some consulting work I've done, doing business with a university, if you're not familiar with it. So with our toolkits, hopefully we can put out some information or maybe some webinars or something like that really demystifies the process and allows and helps, especially social value creating businesses to be able to report on what or to in a bid talk about what they do, but also what other impacts doing business with them does as well. So that will be coming as well. And more operationally on the social procurement side, right now I mentioned earlier, as new bid opportunities get passed through procurement services, I'm having a look at that, and there's been a few already since I've started, which hasn't been that long, so that's exciting, that are great candidates for social procurement. So the ball's rolling there. And the other bit we're looking at is as contracts expire across the university, one thing I want to do is begin to look at those contracts a few months out. So when a new contract's going to be going to tender, we can look at that and say, is there more community value that can be extracted? That'll be an ongoing task, but one that I think will really champion the long-term vision I have, which is, we look at our suppliers, who do business with York, and we should be able to confidently say that all of our suppliers accomplish two things as it pertains to social procurement. The first one is that, one, through the result of their work, they're providing tangible benefits to York in achieving our social procurement policy outcomes. Or if it's not possible, because not every contract will, that within their own community, that they're championing the causes we care about. And then from a sustainability side, we're working on a fair trade campus certification. So that's nearing its end, I think. So that'll be a great piece for the university to know that the coffee, the cotton, bananas, and there's a couple other goods as well that are part of that category, or that classification, that when we consume those goods, that our sustainable and social justice outcomes are being championed. Insofar as sustainability is concerned with procurement services, what we've started to do is to embed sustainability language within our contract opportunities. So we've done a couple right now as we're trying to figure out the best pathway of getting meaningful data aligned these opportunities to the UN SDG goals. So what we've been asking the award, I guess, the individuals who've won the contract, what we've been asking them to do is to talk about how, through the course of completing the work at York, they will be championing the goals that we identified. So I'm in the process. It's early days for that one, but I should be, before too long, have a nice little dashboard set up that looks at what goals are currently being championed, or UN SDG goals are currently being championed as a result of our contracts. And then more broadly, I think on the sustainability side, we want to look at product life cycles as well. So, if goods are used on campus, how, what do we do with them, but also when we're finished. So that could be anything from IT to, single use products. How are we protecting the environment, or at least mitigating our environmental degradation? So yeah, lots going on.
Awesome. You are clearly very, very busy.
It's
So
my
I
pleasure.
wanted to change gears a little bit and ask you, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges you've had to overcome to date? And, it doesn't have to be professional, but something about Brent.
Sure. Probably for me, moving to Europe, or the UK in particular, and doing a PhD over there. I was in my early 20s. I'd never done something like that. I'd like to travel and been a few places, but never to Europe. And it was quite a bold step for me. But eventually I got accepted to the University of Edinburgh, and I did my PhD in history there, and stayed for a while after, and worked with the Scottish government. That's kind of how I got into the social enterprise and community benefits space as well. But I would say that's probably the best. I mean, not only is a PhD hard, but I'm so glad I did it. And, all the travel I got to do while I was in Europe, nice little icing on the cake, if you will. But yeah, I'd say that was probably it.
Well, congratulations on your PhD. I know it is definitely not an easy thing to accomplish. So congrats.
Up until about I would say about a little over 2 weeks ago, I probably would have said that, but my wife and I just had our first baby a couple weeks ago, so it's pretty hard for me to deviate from that. So yeah,
Well, congratulations and welcome
thanks.
to fatherhood and parenthood.
Yes. So far, so
So,
good.
well, great. So, Brent, what do you do when you're not doing this very, very important work that you're doing at York?
I'm a big sports enthusiast. My wife and I just moved to Newmarket, so just getting reoriented. I'm quite an avid baseball player, so I know I just missed the season this year, but hopefully next season, fingers and toes crossed that sport will be back in the way that we knew it prior to COVID. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into sports. Also keen into music as well. I think I play 4 instruments, so um, nice to pick that up again. And a bit of a hobby brewer as well. So I picked that up in the UK. Craft brew, home brewing was quite a popular pastime in Scotland. So I learned that. So looking forward to getting back into that as well.
Awesome. So, my last question to you, obviously, someone with a lot on the plate. If you had a magic wand, how would you use it?
If I had a magic wand, so I mean, I did go to Harry Potter Land and I did get one. So I'm just kidding. A particular hockey team would win the Stanley Cup next season, and I'm not talking about the Maple Leafs. Um, but on a more serious note, if that magical power did exist, what I would love to do um, would be to create a marketplace for social enterprises. When I lived in Scotland, um, it was in vogue, so to speak, to start your own social enterprise. So many people were just interested in more than just profits for their business as well. So, whether it was a mission they cared about, and they'd use business as a tool to support that. In addition to having was a bit shocking to me just how there's some great social enterprises in Ontario, but we don't have the market for it quite yet. So hopefully some of the work I'm able to do at York can create a bit more of an appetite for whether it's York's graduates that might want to consider becoming a social entrepreneur after graduation, or supporting some of the great social enterprises that exist already. I just love to see more people explore that as a career opportunity.
That's admirable and very impressive. And we're, again, really glad that you're on board. And I really thank you for joining us today and sharing so much of what you do and who you are, playing your instruments and looking forward to sports and definitely helping with the little one. Thanks a
Thanks.
lot again.